The holidays are behind us. We're starting to see a new batch of COVID cases right here in Western Mass.
And Western Mass News reporter Reagan Lockery joins us live in studio with more on what local doctors are seeing. Reagan, what mandates have already made their way back into public spaces?
Abby and Chris, as of Friday, masks are required at all times for everyone over the age of 5 at all Bay State hospitals. That includes Bay State Medical Center, Bay State Children's Hospital, Bay State Noble Hospital, Bay State Wing Hospital, and Bay State Franklin Medical Center, as well as Des Moines Centers for Cancer Care. Bay State provided Western Mass News with a statement that reads in part, quote, "In light of the steady increase in the number of COVID-19 cases both among patients and in the community, Bay State Health is updating its masking policy to require masking at its hospitals and strongly recommending mask wearing in its ambulatory care settings." With this update in COVID protocols, we took our questions to the Director of Microbiology Laboratory Teaching at UMass Amherst, Dr. Erica Hamilton, to find out what she's been seeing.
It seems like everybody's got something. The flu is going around, COVID cases are going up, RSV cases are increasing. There's even an increase in things like head colds going around. So everybody's got something. And it's been compounded by the holidays where people have been visiting with each other, people have been traveling, and now, of course, the kids are going back to school.
Dr. Hamilton tells Western Mass News it's unlikely places like UMass will reinstate the mask mandate unless we see levels spike extremely high like during the peak of the pandemic. However, she feels with the recent increase in cases, other doctors' offices and places that see the largest number of sick people will likely decide to have visitors mask up. She adds that we will most likely continue to see an increase in all of these respiratory illnesses for the next few weeks, and then hopefully it will drop off to a more reasonable level.
Reagan, does Dr. Hamilton believe vaccines have been helping to stop the spread?
Well, Abby, Dr. Hamilton tells me that vaccination rates are not where they should be here in Massachusetts and across the nation to stop COVID from continuing to cause serious infections in people. But I'll have more on that and when Dr. Hamilton expects COVID protocols will start to mimic that of the flu and other respiratory illnesses coming up tonight at 6.